Okay, so today we are making this homemade brownie recipe that uses black beans. I don't know why anyone came up with this idea. I guess it's supposed to be healthier, but you're still putting a lot of sugar and sweetener and chocolate chips in this, so it's definitely not healthy. But I wanted to try it out because it's interesting. It's out there on the internet, people are doing it, and I have lots of beans in the house. I bought a ton when the pandemic started, and I am still trying to figure out how to go through them. Brownies sounded like a cool idea. And this recipe is supposed to be really easy, so let's get started. So we're gonna mix everything up in the food processor, and then we just dump it in the baking pan, and that's basically it. And this recipe, by the way, I'm sure I put it in the title and description, but it comes from a blog and a YouTube channel called Chocolate Covered Katie. She actually just uploaded a video, a very quick video of her making this recipe, so I will link that, and I'll also link directly to the recipe blog post too. And thank you, Chocolate Covered Katie. So our first thing we want to add is the black beans. They are rinsed and drained. I went with reduced sodium black beans because that's just what I tend to buy anyway, but I would think if you're rinsing them, it probably doesn't matter. Gotta get every last bean. Next is cocoa powder. By the way, if you hear that hissing sound, I'm sorry about the noise, it's the oven preheating. Got cocoa powder all over the recipe. Now, she says in the recipe to use quick oats, but we don't have those in the house. We have old-fashioned oats. We also have steel cut, but I know you definitely don't want to bake with that. But we do bake with the old-fashioned oats all the time, and usually that comes out fine. So we're just going to go with that. Salt. Now, I'm guessing this is in an effort to make this recipe healthier. It does use maple syrup as a sweetener. What's interesting is you still use sugar, or if you want stevia. She specifies the amounts that you should use for each, but basically you use stevia or sugar plus maple syrup, or if you didn't want to use maple syrup, she says you could use agave or honey. Honey. Now, I looked this up. I tried to figure out, like, could I just use sugar instead of maple syrup? Apparently, the maple syrup provides moisture, so if you just substituted with sugar, I don't think you'd get the right results. I don't really love baking with maple syrup because it is so expensive, and, I mean, you generally don't get a very big bottle. This is from Costco, and it is 1/3 of a cup that you need to use, so kind of a significant amount. But here we go. I'm trying it, so I'll let you guys know if it's worth it. Okay, so the next ingredient is sugar, so in it goes. If you hear that, my sugar is really clumpy because we don't bake a ton and we don't make a lot of sweet things, so it's a little old, but it's fine. All right, next we add some coconut oil, and this is a little tricky because if you're familiar with coconut oil, you know that it is solid at room temperature, so it's just like an awkward consistency. It's almost like butter. She doesn't say whether or not she wants you to melt it first, so I'm not going to, and I'm hoping that's okay. Let's get all that in there. It's definitely going to be interesting to see what the consistency of this batter is like, but I think that the coconut oil is supposed to take the place of butter and maybe egg too. This is a no egg recipe, so I guess that means it's vegan too. Okay, next we add vanilla extract, and it's funny because as I'm making this video, I'm realizing just how many of my ingredients are from Costco. Got a little heavy-handed there. Okay, and finally we add in some baking powder. Just double checking that is not baking soda. We're good. So we're gonna mix all of this up, and then we're gonna stir in some chocolate chips and throw it in the oven. All right, so I've been pureeing this for a couple minutes now. My food processor is like rocking back and forth on the counter. I don't see it getting any smoother. There's a couple of like whole pieces, like oats, I guess, from the oatmeal, so I'm not sure if I'm happy with this consistency, but I don't see how you're gonna get it any smoother in here. I think a blender would have made more sense, but she says to use a food processor. We're following her instructions. I'll give it another 30 seconds. I don't think it's gonna get any smoother, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay, so now all that's left to do is to pour the batter into a pan and then add some chocolate chips and put it in the oven. So instead of greasing my pan, oh my god, this angle. Instead of greasing my pan, we're gonna try using parchment paper because I've watched, sorry, noise. I've watched a lot of people use that in other cooking and baking videos, and it seems to make it a lot easier to get the finished product out of the pan. So I'm gonna try it. I have to tell you, it still really smells like beans in chocolate, which makes sense because that's what it is. But everybody that I've seen talk about these black bean brownie recipes, they've all said that you can't tell that there's beans in them. And I am calling bullshit right now. My nose can tell. I can't imagine that by the time these are done, I'm somehow not going to be able to tell, because right now I can absolutely tell that these are not regular brownies and that they do have something weird in them. This parchment paper may have been a bad idea. Let me show you what it looks like. As you can see, it's just kind of like folding in on itself. So this is an interesting shape. It might not be square, but I guess you live and learn. Like I mentioned, the last step is to add in chocolate chips. Obviously, you would probably want brown ones. All we have is white chocolate. I thought we had chocolate chips in the house. I was so confident I didn't even check. So we're gonna try white chocolate. It's a lot sweeter. We'll see how it works. Okay, we will try to shake that up, distribute it a little more evenly. This is gonna be so sweet. Maybe you won't notice the beans. Maybe you'll throw up from all the sugar. Is that she says this only needs 15 to 18 minutes to bake, whereas typical brownie recipes, at least with the box stuff, take somewhere around 45 minutes. So I'm going to err on the side of caution and give these 18 minutes because I don't see how they could be done any sooner than that. But because there's no egg, I guess it's just a matter of like heating it up. I know there's not really any like bacteria that we have to worry about killing. So I'm going to give these 18 minutes and then we will pull them out. She does mention that they might not solidify right away. So we'll see what the consistency is like. And if we can, we'll do a taste test today. If not, I guess we'll have to do that tomorrow. There we go, ready to bake. See you in 18 minutes. Okay guys, so I just pulled these brownies out of the oven and they smell so good actually. It smells like someone's baking a cake. I want to show you up close what they look like. Oops. The white chocolate looks a little funny when it melts because it gets sort of like yellowy. I guess it starts to like caramelize. These are very, very soft, like she mentions in the recipe. So we're going to need some time to let them cool and harden. Hopefully we can try them today because they smell really good and I'm so curious about what they taste like. But she does mention that you might need to refrigerate them and look at me with these mitts. You might need to refrigerate them and give them like a day to fully harden and cool. So I hope they don't need that long, but I will check back in with you and we will do a taste test together. It's had 10 minutes to cool. I will lift it up again and show you what it looks like. Pretty, I think. Ooh, this is really soft still. It's looking a little bit like a lava cake. I don't know if I can cut into it. Wow, it got so... I'm gonna try to show you. On the side, it got really thin. It's like paper thin. I want to cut into it, but I don't know if it's ready. Well, we're back. It's been about 50 minutes. So, our white chocolate chips are starting to solidify again. Oh, they're still a little bit soft. All right. You want to do a cheers?
Yeah.
Oh, they're soft. Here we go.
I don't know what I'm tasting.
I think you're tasting beans.
It's definitely not a brownie.
I think you can tell the beans are in it.
I don't know if I taste beans. I'm just trying to figure out what kind of dessert this reminds me of. It doesn't taste like a brownie.
Would you eat it again?
Sure. Would you?
I would not make it again. If someone came over here and brought these for some reason, I would eat them. But I'm not going to make this again. I can taste the beans. And there's a lot of sugar in these.
Yeah, when you don't have a chocolate white chip, it's a little...
beanie.
I guess so. It's just like not... I don't know, it's like a gooey...
You can tell...
non-sugared cookie or something.
So she says in the end of the recipe, the trick is to serve this to someone and not tell them that there's beans in it, which I think is so evil. If you gave me these and I didn't know any better and you didn't say anything, I would know they're not normal brownies. So, chocolate-covered Katie, shame on you. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. Thank you for the recipe. This was fun to try. I do think they're tasty, so I consider this a success. Thank you everybody for watching. Please like, subscribe, click the bell, enable all notifications, leave me a comment, and if you enjoyed this video, please share it with somebody else.
Is there a lot of sugar in it if I eat another one?
I mean, the chocolate chips are very sugary. There's maple syrup. There's also sugar.
I think I'm tasting maple syrup. It kind of reminds me of a pancake.
Oh.
Yeah, a bean pancake. I didn't really taste bean.